Hey everyone, I've been holding off on making this video for a long time, but I think now's the actual time I need to make it. This is going to be interesting, to say the least, but not even sure how to start. Just wanted to start with this page of Archangel Azrael. Everyone calls him the angel of death, but it's actually the angel of transition. It's the angel that's supposed to take us from earth to heaven and makes the judgment for God to who to take. And everyone makes it out to be a grim reaper with a sickle and all that stuff, but I have a story to tell, and it's pretty crazy, but I gotta get it out. So, this is Azrael's symbol. It's the only one with a number on it. Every other archangel just has letters and symbols and stuff, but there's actually the infinity sign, which is an 8, and then a 2, and then this right here is Jupiter upside down, which is a 2 and a 4. This will all come into play as I talk, but it all kind of comes back to when I was a kid, 19 years old. I was in this bad car accident. I lost the brakes in a truck I picked up from my dad's first company, and it happened to be 8888. It was around 4:30. I'd be surprised if I actually knew if it was 4:28 at this point, but I lost the brakes. A lot of people know this story. It was horrible. Todd French lost his life, and my life changed forever at that moment because I just woke up. And since then, I've had so many experiences. I mean, it's 36 years ago or something like that. I mean, I've had my grandpa come back from the dead, told me I had cancer. He brought me to his grave site, and I found out where he was buried afterward, like 8 years later. And there's so many stories in the middle of all that, and everyone knows half my stories, but now they don't even know. They know 10th, maybe of 1% of my stories are crazy. And people that know me remember when I made $1 million in 99, and I lost it all in 2000 in the stock market crash. I was told in my head a year before that, standing on the porch at my girlfriend's house in Norwood, that I was going to make a lot of money and lose it all. And I didn't heed the warning, and I made a lot of money. The stock split twice in December that I chose. Number one stock of the year, the best year of the market ever. And I quit my job, went out to internet world, came back, lost everything. And then my dog was even on a Dateline special the month after the Dateline special aired that I was involved in for the stock market crash. So that was pretty crazy. But those are old stories, long stories ago. And then most recent, I had a vision 3 years ago while I was meditating, praying, and Archangel Azrael came to me. I was completely awake. He showed me himself sitting on a bench across from me, and then the next vision, he was helping this little girl cross over, and then the next vision, he was pulling me out of my bed by my hand. And it sounds fucking crazy, but my wife actually and my daughter experienced this little girl in our house for 2 weeks before this happened, and I think he took her away from the transition because I told the little girl to go to the light, and so did my daughter. It's a long story, but it happened. Anyway, that led into me trying to figure out what the hell was going on with these eights. My whole life, I ran away from the number 8. I was told in the shower to call my development company Prishy8, which is what I called it, Prishy with an 8. After I bought the URL 2 days later, I realized that Prishy is an anagram of my company Hipsy. So that was kind of crazy. And I was told I was going to create this platform, Fishies, basically, to help the world when the transition happens, when everything crashes and the dollar is worth nothing, and it's all going to be blockchain based. And I've been working on it for 3 years. Nobody believes in me. Most people just think I'm nuts. But check this shit out. When you start digging in, Archangel Azrael has the 8, the 2, and the 2 and the 4. First of all, the symbol of Jupiter here. I was born on Jupiter Drive, which is even fucking crazier. But basically, the Pope just died at 88 years old on the same day that the flood came on 4/8/2024 in Kerrville, Texas, which was the exact point where the two freaking eclipses landed. Kerrville was the spot that it crossed. And Trump's numbers were 88022/2024, and the bullet missed his head. Trump is part of the transition. The Pope died at 88 that same day that this happened. Trump was shot at earlier than that, but I even found this thing on the way back from our vacation. My wife and I saw it, and even all of his serial numbers on this $20 or this bill that he had was all 8s. It's 2024, all 8s. So he doesn't even know what the hell's going on. But for some reason, I've been connecting to this. And then as time went on, last year, October, everyone remembers we had a aurora. And what happened was solar flare number on the sun. I was drawn to watch the sun, believe it or not, in September. And then October, I was watching the numbers, and 848 and 842 were actually sunspots on the sun. I told my dad the day before, I said, I think tomorrow there's going to be a big flare. I didn't know which one it was going to be, and it ended up being both of them. This 848 shot a 1.8, and then the 842 shot a 1.4, which caused the aurora that everybody saw. And at the same time that happened, you can actually see there's a freaking comet flying in between the sun and us. You can see Mercury right here. Boom. And that's when those two flares occurred. Coincidentally, the executive order 13848, the same as the sunspot number, was the executive order that stopped freaking Dominion voting machines from being able to cheat. It was that was what they used to stop the cheating in the election, which came up like 3 or 4 weeks later. I also made a video, which I breadcrumbed, that I just didn't told anybody about all this shit because it's so crazy. I made a video the day before Halloween last year and said there's going to be the largest solar flare tomorrow on Halloween than we've ever seen, and there was. I actually had that video on my YouTube, and so that was just another breadcrumb. And as time went on, I just kept watching, and things were happening, and so the aurora happened, and it was all these colors were the same as some other things that were happening in the background that I could talk about with Mother Mary and this woman from France who painted this picture, and my best friend TJ sent me a picture of something that was Mother Mary praying behind this girl. I guess I can pause and show that really quick. So this is a completely different file that I had made back in the day, but this is a picture TJ had sent me. This little girl had leukemia. She was using sparklers in the backyard on their deck. The whole family was there. They were all praying to Mother Mary. And you can see the story here. I'd started to make a video like a year ago. I just didn't put it out, but I don't care anymore. So whatever, here we go. Anyway, you can see Mother Mary praying behind this little girl. This was actually in the paper. TJ's family took this picture, and afterward they sent it into the paper. And he mentioned it to me last year because he had just ran into her, and it was 11 years ago that it happened. And he was talking about how she was still alive. And so he sends me this picture. Then, like about a month later, this woman from France called me, who's amazing. And she may jump in here on the video, and I don't want to drop her name, but she gets messages, and she's amazing. She called me out of the blue to talk about marketing. And as we started talking, she tells me, well, I knew she was sensitive. And I said, what else do you do? And she said, oh, I'm an artist, blah, blah, blah. I just painted a picture of Mother Mary last night. I was woken up to paint this picture. And she sent me the picture. And it's exactly the same fence in the background with the red robe and all the colors of the aurora. And all the colors are the same as in this picture. And I was like, my God, because there's a fence right here. This is Mother Mary in her red. And then this little girl, and it just happened to coincide where TJ had sent me that picture right before this woman did. And then she also painted this picture of Trump before he got elected, and she was telling me about that. So that's another crazy thing that happened. And you can see here that these are all the aurora pictures from that day that everyone took. And this is literally when I first started making fishies, I didn't want to put my face out because I don't know why, I didn't want to be public really. And I used this avatar as my profile, and all these colors match everything in here too, which is crazy. I had little angels flying out of my head. I just made this on AI a long time ago. And then I started looking in further about Mother Mary and Fatima and what happened during Fatima. It was a solar cycle at the time, and everyone saw the light of the sun. You know, they talked about all the people seeing it. Well, it happened to be at the solar cycle, so it was actually a sun flare that everyone watched, but they were all told to be there for it. So I just believe the sun and all the stars are like a clock. And this is another story. I got so many freaking stories from all these times that have been happening. But let me go back to my other file really quick, because this is trying to finish the story. But so as you can see, the auroras and all that shit just started happening. I'm paying attention. Curvo happened after I was watching someone mentioning it's the birth of, it's all about the Bible. Everything's in the Bible about all this stuff. If you look it up, it's pretty intense. Curvo happened on July 4th, the 3rd going into the 4th. And I watched this guy, Bo Paulini, who talked about that. But so then right now, Charlie Kirk gets murdered. On the day that he got murdered, the coronal hole number 80 was out, and there was a butterfly shape. It was pretty crazy. And I've been watching this coronal hole go by for the last, I think, 11, 12 months. I get a headache every month for the last 4 months when it cruises by. So if anybody had a headache Saturday, I sat on the couch with an ice pack on my head for 12 hours. But this came through recently on the 13th. And it turned into a dove right after the 10th. It moved from looking like a butterfly to a dove, which doesn't mean anything, but it kind of does, because if you look back at the video I did for Halloween, it looked like a jack-o'-lantern. I swear to God, I have a video with some pictures of it. But so now here we are. Everyone's talking about the Feast of Trumpets and tomorrow, the 23rd, being this big day, the new 7-year cycle, the Antichrist, and all this other shit. And I don't know anything about the Bible, but I've been learning a lot and learning everything I can to understand it. And literally everything's happening tomorrow. Trump's speaking at the UN conference. Israel's got they're looking for the new moon to happen or whatever, and then the Feast of Trumpets, and it's all about the rapture and the 7 years of tribulation, all this shit. And exactly when this is coming down, the sunspot number just turned 4228. And so that's just another confirmation to me that the timing tomorrow, something's going on. I've had some visions of volcanoes a while back, I told everybody, and I just kind of breadcrumbed that on Facebook once, and I think we're going to see it, literally. And then today, matter of fact, as I say this, today, The San Francisco area had the largest earthquake they've had in decades. You're about to see Italy have a huge volcanic eruption, I believe, with this Campi Flegrei, it's called, or Fiegre, or whatever. It's called the Burning Fields. It's right next to Vesuvius, which is a huge volcano that everyone knows about, but the next to it's way bigger, and there's 6 million people that live around it. So I'm a little worried about people on the coasts and places, and I just thought I'd throw this out to people. I have a lot more to the story, but it would go on for fucking days if I really kept telling the whole story. I just wanted to give a quick blueprint so people could kind of see the numbers and judge for themselves. Am I fucking nuts, or is something happening in my life that's making me look at this? And then all the people that I follow who are like people that seem to know things in the future, they're all talking about the same stuff. And I just can't explain it any other way. So I just figured I'd put it out there and let people see all these coincidences. And I have many more, and my whole family knows about it. I don't know. I don't think they think I'm crazy, because for 25, 30 years, they've seen me, I went to Home Depot, bought all the masks before COVID happened and sold them all on eBay, and then bought a generator and food and told my wife we weren't getting married on March 16th because the city was going to be shut down. I told everybody that at Easter. Everyone was mad at me, thought I was crazy, but it exactly happened like I said. I'm not saying I'm a prophet. I'm just saying that I'm in touch. I get fucking messages. I know shit. I know people. I know good and evil all the time. It's crazy. You might ask, why don't you have any money to build fishies? And I don't fucking know. God doesn't work like that. Jesus didn't have fucking money handed to him. Nobody else did. Not that I'm Jesus. I'm just saying, I'm building an ark is what I was told. And it's for when stable coins become the new monetary, and everything's already moving that way. And people don't believe me, but last week Russia came out and said, we know what Trump's doing. He's switching the dollar into stable coins, and he's going to crash the dollar and get rid of the Federal Reserve. China followed up the next day by banning stable coins. But I'm just telling you, this is what's coming. You can believe me or not, think I'm fucking nuts. Doesn't really matter to me anymore, because everybody that's my friend still talks to me, and the people that think I'm crazy when I tell them the story, I can see it in their eyes, and it scares them. But they don't need to be scared, because I'm just out for good. I've found Jesus now. I've never read the Bible, but I now have a grasp on what was going on in the stories in Matthew 24. By the way, Matthew 24, the 2:4, that's the story of the revelation and the rapture and what's coming next, which people think they're all going to ascend tomorrow, but that's not happening. But tomorrow is going to be the beginning of a new cycle of the 7 years. If you look into the Bible, and the 40 weeks, every week means 7 years kind of thing. I don't even know. It's so confusing, but look around, you'll find what I'm talking about. Everyone's talking about it. The Feast of Trumpets is tomorrow. Trump's speaking at UN. All these things are happening. And this is a time clock to me, apparently. I don't know why my life is now seems insane, but it's really not, because I feel I could show you more and more stuff. I have other videos that I made that I even forget half the things I do. I mean, I could tell you, I asked for the lottery numbers at the same time Azrael came to me, because I said, if this is real, I need to fucking know. And I actually got 3 of the lottery numbers one night in January. Where's that at? I fucking meditated, prayed. I saw a backwards 3 and some crunchy number. Then I saw like a 54. And then when I was done, I went in the kitchen and I wrote 3, and I didn't put anything next to it. I just wrote a 3 and a crunchy, and then I wrote 54. And then I figured, well, if the 3's backwards, 54 is backwards too. So I bought the numbers 3 and 54. But as I was writing them down, this giant cue card shot in my face in the kitchen. And I saw the number 14. And I was like, okay, well, and I dismissed it because I wasn't meditating or praying. And I thought, whatever. So I bought the tickets, and that was on Friday, the 13th here. And literally, when I woke up from a nap, I checked the fucking numbers, and the numbers were 30. So the 30, the crunchy 3 in the thing was 30, and then 45. And then the freaking Powerball was 14. I didn't buy that number. I freaking bought, you can see I bought a 13 and I bought 3. The other numbers I just used were like stupid numbers that I was using, like 8s and 22 and all that shit. And I didn't take it as serious because I didn't really know. But I used 13 and 3 at the beginning, so I wasn't sure. And I used 45 and I used 54, and I didn't use 14 in the Powerball because I didn't believe it was the Powerball. I just thought that was an aftermath thing where I don't know, it was weird. But when I stood there and looked at the numbers and I said out loud, why didn't you give me all the numbers? I immediately heard in my head, it's not your destiny. It's not your destiny. And then I just yelled, fuck. And I was mad. But that's the kind of shit that's been going on. And I've been broke as fuck for the last year and a half trying to make this happen. Nobody seemed to care what I'm doing. I got debanked twice, had to switch countries twice. Right now I'm building my site myself. I figured it out. I use AI. I'm fucking killing it. It's crazy what I'm doing right now. And it's just the breadcrumbs. Like at Christmas time, we were on our way to Christmas and on Saturday night, and I was pumping gas in Indiana, and I just had this horrible feeling like, my God, I'm so fucking broke right now. What am I doing? I haven't had a job. I got to figure this out. And I went inside and I said, can I, I want to play the Powerball. And it was 88 million. I didn't notice that until I actually got in there. And I asked for auto pick, and it literally gave me all the lotto numbers. 22, 22, 24, 22 were the actual Powerball numbers, which I just brought it out to my wife and laughed, and we didn't win. I told her we're not going to win. I said it's just more of a confirmation, I think, because I was already told it's not my destiny, so I'm not sure why I keep fucking playing. So anyway, it's a long video, but it's so much more, man. I could go on and on and on, and about the storms and about I just don't even need to go into all that right now. But I feel like I just needed to get that off my chest and let people know that things are fine, but you're going to see earthquakes and volcanoes soon, and a lot of unrest. But Charlie Kirk dying was part of the future. It's everyone's going to church, everyone's finding Jesus. They're trying to level up because bad things are coming. I hate to say it like that, but if you're not mentally ready for it, you're going to freak out and you're going to be like, oh no. But I'm not freaking out about anything anymore. I'm just moving forward every day and working my ass off and praying. So hope everyone understands that. You call me out if you want. I don't really give a shit. And if you have questions, I'd be more than happy to talk to you, because my story is crazier than you could possibly imagine. It goes on and on and on. It's tied into so many things going on in the world right now that I can't even talk about all of it in here because it's just too much. It's just crazy, but it's awesome. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys right now. Just say a prayer, love your family, and just don't worry about what's coming. Just know that we're actually in a good spot where we live in Cincinnati. The pole shift is coming too. I don't want to get into that, but people aren't ready. I mean, just today we just found the 8th moon, which is interesting. The day before this happens on the 22nd, they just found the 8th moon today. I'll show that picture really fast too. Here's the article I saw today. This says with the new addition, there are now 8 known quasi-moons speeding through space alongside the Earth. So we have our moon and 8 more. There's also 7 comets flying through the frickin' solar system right now, more than we've ever seen before. Everyone knows about the AI or A1 Atlas. They just found another one. They called R22, and then they found 5 more. So we have 7 flying through right now, coming through at the same exact time all this shit's going on. So, biblical times. Check this out. This happened today.
Is positioned between the Earth and the Sun. It orbits the Sun with the Earth. However, this spacecraft is in between the Moon and the Sun, where the SOHO is outside of the Moon. Watch what this spacecraft captured yesterday. For the first time in modern history, right there, an eclipse was observed by one of these spacecraft. And not only a partial, but it appeared to block out all of the light. Everything went black as the Moon moved directly in front of the Sun. This round thing you see right here on this spacecraft is designed to block out the extreme bright light of the Sun. It basically creates an eclipse. Yesterday's event, and then for whatever reason, the Moon zigzagged across the screen. Not quite sure why it did that. Here it is in slow motion, zooming in. That's the Moon going in front of the Sun, blocking out the light totally, temporarily, and then moving out of the way, and there it goes again. Unbelievable. That has never happened on any spacecraft that monitors the Sun. Looking at the SOHO, this is just outside the orbit of the Moon, so the Moon doesn't go in front of the SOHO spacecraft. But as you just saw right there, if you were looking close, you could see something move across the screen from right to left, right there. There appeared to be an object behind the Sun that darted very quickly right after the eclipse. My friend Nelson Jenks out of North Carolina noticed this anomaly the same time I did. I keep the SOHO going basically 24/7. I monitor these spacecrafts all the time, and I too noticed that what looked like an anomaly right there, and it appeared to be some sort of a rod. See it right there? Behind the Sun, it changes course right there. There I zoom in on it, and then it darts across the screen to the left. So 2 things happened yesterday. The SOHO spacecraft captured some sort of a rare anomaly. And keep in mind, the images that you see on these SOHO spacecraft movies, these movies are made up of images that are taken once every 12 minutes. So
I'm not going to bore you with the rest of this, but it's pretty crazy what was going on today. You see, we have freaking all kinds of shit going on. And you got San Francisco Bay having a huge earthquake today. That's not a huge one, but it's just a precursor. Like there's a huge volcano off of the shore there in Oregon that is going to be a major disaster, I feel like. And I just think the Earth's waking up. This was another thing today that just...
So more than likely, it was felt by...
There's just biblical shit happening, and we're all right in the middle of it. So,
looking at the cosmic rays, you can see a very large cosmic ray was detected. The graph over here shows what a 5% increase is like, and you can see this one here shows probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 40, maybe even a 50% increase. So you got another what appears to be...
All right, so I'm done. I just fucking ramble on for hours if I wanted to, but I just wanted to put this out. You can judge me if you want. Don't really care, but this is what's happening. Stable coins are coming in. Everybody's figuring that out. I've been talking about this shit for years now, and it's all happening. So good news is my site's starting to look killer. I've been working on that. You can't see it because the page is too big here, but I literally busting it out every day. Keep on going. So yeah, I got it all started. Just getting ready for the fucking great reset. So good luck, everybody.